What's good, y'all? Jay Boogie in full effect. Mo Bundown is the sound. You know how we do. And this is, of course, Lounge Presents. We're live streaming on Twitch right now. And in the lounge space today, we got her in. We had some TVA interference, if you're all about that MCU shit. TVA just messed things up for us time wise, but we got her in. So, right about now, giving it up, formerly hip hop's kid sister, because she's far from that now, Kid Fresh.
Peace, peace. Thank you, thank you.
So, how are you doing, Keysha?
Man, I'm good. I'm busy. But busy's good, right? So I'm good. I'm
Busy
chilling.
is good for real.
Yeah,
You've
yeah.
obviously
I'm good.
you're in album rollout mode,
Yeah, 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 yeah.
and we're definitely gonna get to that obviously. But before we do, we always start off by asking our friends in the lounge space how they were first introduced to hip hop culture.
Ooh, good question. I just think I've been around hip hop my whole life.
Yeah,
A lot of
you're like yeah.
family, a lot of family in New York and such. And obviously, I'm the youngest of three actual older brothers and a lot of older cousins and stuff. So for me, it kind of was like just always there. I don't remember a time in my life hip hop wasn't there. We had cassettes in the house. My mom was always playing WBLK in the car, and on the cassette player in the house and stuff on the boombox and stuff. So, hip hop was just always a part of my life. And I just remember my uncle used to have these cassettes, Mecca and the Soul Brother, and just a bunch of just life after, not life after that. Sorry, Ready or Die, Ready to Die. Just a bunch of classic hip hop albums. We used to have, and we just used to put them in the tape deck and just run it and play it. And then when we would go to the states, we would pick up mixtapes and bring them back. So it was always there.
Definitely a familiar tale for a lot of folks. I mean, obviously depends on which generation you grew up in, but it's a very familiar tale. I think we can all relate to that in some form or fashion. There's always music coming from the states, and there's always music around you. But if I were to ask you what the if you can recall the first time you ever heard a rap record, what was it?
hmm That's a tough one. It's hard to remember, but I can remember the first one I memorized. Like I can remember the first one that
Ooh,
stuck with me.
that's
So it was
that's the one.
Coolio's. It was Coolio's "Gangsta's Paradise."
Okay,
Yeah, that was
okay.
definitely the record. My mom always tells people like I was so enamored by that song as a kid. Like I would stand in front of the TV when the video came on and just watch it. And I would always tell her, Paradise, play Paradise, like, trying to get her to play it. She's like, it's just on the radio, babe. Whenever it plays, it plays, it's just, but it was just, I think that was the song. That's my earliest memory of like falling in love with a hip hop song.
Okay, not a bad start. Definitely a big record for Coolio. Were you
Yeah.
familiar with the Stevie joint before you heard it?
Um, Probably not, because I think I was really little then, so I
Yeah.
don't think I was. But obviously, now I study music historian and stuff. So I
Yeah.
definitely it's always cool when you're like, oh yeah, that was that sample. Like, yeah, that's where that
Okay.
came from, or that's where that idea came from.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But yeah.
Well, you've given us an idea of some of the things you may have heard when you were growing up in the home. Other than
Mhm.
other than hip hop, what else was being played in the home?
Definitely a lot of like rock, easy rock for sure. Our family always listened to CHFI, which is a station here in Toronto.
Yeah.
And that played a lot of easy rock. So definitely a lot of that. People are always surprised at the songs that I know from that genre, and it's like, nah, I grew up on that. Soca. My family's West Indian,
Hey,
Guyanese,
of
so
course. Yes.
soca music was very big in our home, and
Right.
and ska and reggae and dance hall and just chutney because again Guyanese chutney is very
Hey.
big in my culture. Yeah, so
I love the
just like
mention. I love the mention.
yeah, so much. There's so many. genres that my parents listen to, especially my mom. She's really big on music. My dad likes Stevie Wonder and Bob Marley, so Bob Marley's my favorite artist. My dad obviously influenced that, just
Right.
by he. My dad's not a music guy, but he really was a strong believer in Bob Marley's, politics
Oh yeah.
and just kind of how he viewed the world and how influential he was. My dad is a journalist and a historian, so
Yes,
it's more
yes.
he loved Bob more for his influence and stuff of that nature. Whereas me, I'm like the music and the influence. So that's how I was raised.
There you go. Keisha, we're just gonna put a pin on your dad for a moment, okay? Because that's we're gonna bring
Okay,
that in a couple of minutes. Now,
cool, cool.
you're exposed to hip hop culture via obviously rap, Coolio, big hand in that. Were there any other elements of the culture that you witnessed where you were like, "Yo, I want to do that too"?
Probably DJ.
Okay,
Probably
okay,
definitely,
okay, okay.
definitely, definitely DJing. Definitely DJing. Cause in high school, and even before high school, so grade 7, we started throwing house parties. Like my friend's parents were real cool, and so we would throw house parties at her house. And her dad was like, "I'm not standing downstairs DJing for a bunch of kids all night." So he actually taught me how to use his CDJs and DJ so that I could,
Hey,
we could have the parties. So what I would do, because at the time, like Bluetooth speakers and stuff wasn't really a big, like they
no,
weren't. I don't even think they were even out yet. So
no.
what I did was, I would stay up all night and make mixes, burn CDs. I've so many. I still have them. Actually, I found a bunch of them the other day, over 100 of them. I'd make CDs of all kinds of music, and then, and that's how I started playing music, CDJs.
CDJs full of joints that you downloaded via, you know,
Limo, yeah,
our
yeah,
favorite file sharing sites.
yeah. We all know.
Yes,
Yeah,
most definitely. So you discovered the culture through proximity.
yeah,
Now,
yeah, for sure.
something about the culture spoke to you. Something said this and you are meant to be. What was it about the
Mhm.
culture that spoke to you?
Um, I just thought it was so cool, yo. I thought, for me, I know better now. But rappers, I used to think rappers were the coolest people in the world. And I still feel that way a little bit. But back
Yeah.
then in the '90s, in the early '90s, oh man, I thought that rappers were just the way that they were able to express themselves, like they just seemed like the coolest people of any genre. Them and dancehall artists to me were always like the two coolest people of any genre. They're like the rebels, the bad boys, and I always had that streak in me where I was like a rebel. I always wanted to be, go by the exception of the rule. Like I was always on the contrary. That was me growing up as a kid. She talks too much. Teachers always tell my mom she never raises her hand. She yells at just always. I like disruption. I don't like. I
Hey.
never used to like order. So
Yeah.
when I felt like that was hip hop. Like it was. There's no order to this. This is so cool. You just do what you want to do, and you're free and you have fun. So at a very young age, I felt that and I saw that, and I remember being 9 years old and articulating very clearly to my mom, I want to be a rapper. Like this is what I want to do in my life. Like I want to rap. So yeah, man, it was just the appeal of just the overall way that rappers carried themselves and what they stood for. I think that pulled me in.
There you go. Let's go back to that conversation you had with moms when you said I want to be a rapper one day. I'm sure when you were 9, she was like, "Oh, sure, yeah, sure, why not?" But once you knew you were going to take it seriously, once you knew that this is it, I'm doing this. What was that conversation like?
Hmm. So that conversation happened at 12. So
Oh,
because at 9, yeah, at 9, when I said I want to be a rapper, my mom took me very seriously. It was like, okay, like how do we get it done? So
right.
when I was 12, she basically challenged me. She said, let me see your dedication to it. So I would write every single day. Every day I wrote. I'm writing to Ti songs. And at the time, like, instrumentals weren't easily available like they are now. You didn't
Right.
have YouTube and stuff. So you're writing over them rapping on their beat. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
always writing and writing and writing. Yeah. So and then by the time I was 12, I said, like, I'm ready to go. Like, I want to record it. So, I got a reference from T minus to a studio in Pickering, and she took me. She took me to the studio, paid for studio time, and the rest literally is history. Because from that very day, I'm like, she knew and I knew, like, yeah, this is what I'm gonna do.
I
So
love that. I
yeah.
love that. I love that moms knew and
Oh
moms
yeah,
took it
yeah, she knew.
seriously. I love that because for many, it's a different conversation.
Oh yeah.
It's especially if you're coming from certain backgrounds, especially immigrant families. For a
Hmm.
lot, for a lot, it's like, oh, so you're gonna do that now, huh? Okay, well, after you get that degree, then you go ahead and
Yeah,
rap all you like.
yeah. Then you can play around. Yeah, yeah. It's
Right,
true.
right.
It's true.
So
It's
it's
true.
it's it's dope that moms is on board from day one.
Oh
Big up
yeah.
moms. That's
Shout out to
sick.
moms for real. Shout out to moms.
Now, we're obviously our TVA action is working now because you bring up T minus, which is what I was going to bring up next. How did that come about?
So there was this basketball court not too far from where I lived in Ajax, and he also lived in Durham too.
Mm.
And he had a friend who that him and his friend would be at the basketball court sometimes too. And I would be there with my friends, and so we'll all just be hooping and playing around, just having it fun outside, whatever. And at that time, T minus was, I think he had just came off of making, it might have been a song called 420 with Bishop, Brigante, and Nate Dogg. I
Mm.
think that's the song.
Hey.
T had just came off fresh making that beat, and that song was, just starting to get play on the radio and stuff. And so I just remember saying to him, like, hey, I want to rap, like, I want to be a rapper, and I just wanted to know, like, if you can point me in the right direction, like, what can how can I record? And he sent me to this studio. At the time, I think it was called Danny Boy. I don't know, probably it's not open anymore, but it was a studio in Pickering. His friend Logic was the engineer there. So I called Logic up and set up the time. Me and my mom went, and Logic was very patient with me. It's my first studio experience. I was 12, like,
I
first
mean,
studio
yeah.
experience. He was really patient with me. Sorry, I was 14 when I recorded this song. 14. My first experience, very patient with me. My mom was, with me. He was explaining to her the process as well. Like, this is what we're gonna do. This is how we do it, and walked me through everything, and mixed the song and sent it to me. And I just remember, like, playing it for my friends in school on my little MP3 player that only held like 8 songs. And
Yeah.
and I was like pretty, and then I put it on my MySpace page, and it was like a thing. It was real cool
Hey.
because it's like, no one else is doing that at the time at that age. So, like,
Really?
everyone was like, "Oh wow, this, like, girl from Durham is, like, rapping, like, what?" So it's cool.
No, that's for real, and I can't. I don't think we should, just think that that was just some small thing. At the age of 14, trying to ply your craft and be taken seriously for it in Canada yet, you know what I'm saying? It's like that's the tall order. I mean, everyone else at 14, you know what we were doing.
Yeah, yeah,
Not
and that
trying to
was
be in a
tough.
studio. Yeah,
No, no,
right.
right. And it was tough because, like, watching my friends experience all these other kind of things at that age, and it's funny when when me and my friends get together at this age, and we're all talking about those experiences in elementary school and high school. It's kind of like, well, you were in the studio. Like, I'm like, I don't remember that. They're like, yeah, you were in the studio all the time. Like, you weren't. I spent my whole high school being a rapper. I was in the studio when they were having these experiences. So I was like, damn, I missed a lot. I'm now realizing it,
For
but I
real.
wouldn't change it for
That
the world. I wouldn't change it for the
no.
world.
I mean, how could you? We're here now.
Yeah,
That's proof. That's proof
exactly,
positive right there, right? So,
exactly.
pardon my swag. Tell me about pardon my swag and how that came about.
So that was the song I recorded when I was 14. So that song. Yeah, that's the one where T minus is sent me to the studio. And my cousin in New York was just becoming a producer at the time. Like he was working on some beats at the time and stuff. And he had given me a burnt CD with that beat on it. And I was at the house. I was in New York and was at his house, and he was playing me a bunch of songs, and I was like, "Oh, I like that one." So he burnt the instruments obviously on a CD for me, and I brought it back to Toronto, and I just kept playing it on my CD player and listening to it, and then I took it to the studio with Logic, and that's how that song came. And just writing the song, it was just a thing at the time. The word swag was just like very
Yes.
popular, and
Yes.
so it was like everything I talked about. I think the hook was like, "Pardon my swag, don't mean to offend you. You might not know it, but I am a winner." Like it was just like just kid stuff, like young. It was
Yeah.
very age appropriate, I'll say.
Yeah. Yeah.
It was fly. It was a dope song, and there's definitely some bars in there from what I can remember, and again, it gave me the confidence. I always say that song gave me the confidence to realize like, oh, I could do this, like no
Exactly.
problem.
Love it.
So
That's
yeah.
sick. So when you were spending all this time in the studio and really really trying to take this seriously, were any of your homies also comparatively thinking, "Yo, I think I want to do this too," or "I think I want to DJ too," or were you more like the odd person out in your peer group?
I mean, it depends what age group because when I was in grade 7, 8, no. Grade 9, not so much. And no one in my direct peer group really.
Okay.
But there were definitely people that I was acquainted with, like Sean Leon, for example,
Okay.
went to my elementary school, and then he went to another high school in Durham as well. Then you had Devontae, who used to go by D Bones in high school. He was in Whitby, going to school in Whitby, but again, we had the same friend group, so we would kick it and freestyle all the time. So there were
Okay.
definitely people in Durham who were doing it. Boy Wonder was at Pickering High School making beats. So there were definitely people around that I knew who were doing it, and who were good at it. You could always tell when someone's just doing it for fun and when someone's actually good at it. So these guys were
Yeah.
all
Yeah.
exceptional at their craft at the time, and so I think there was that. There were obviously a couple others who were good, and freestyle sessions were always popping, but it was never like a serious thing for them. So
Right.
you know survival
I
of the
hear that.
fittest, I guess.
No doubt. No doubt.
Yeah.
Now, taking that pin off the wall, and we're gonna go back to your dad, Ron Thonfair. He is a notable name in journalism in Canada. If you know, you know. Okay,
Mhm.
I'll just put it that way. If you know, you know. Now, when you have a parent who has a name, and then you set out to do your thing, is there was there ever any pressure like, oh man, I gotta like make sure I rep my dad. I gotta make sure that when if people know that that's my dad, that I do him justice because he's who he is. Was there any of that type of pressure?
There's this line by this artist named Chino. So he's Freddie McGregor's son. His name is Chino. But for a long time,
Okay.
people didn't know he was Freddie McGregor's son. And he said this in a song. He said, "Hear what I'm said. Me only bust because me ride off at the boss name, but when me just a boss, me never advertise my last name." So what he's
Right.
saying in that is they all said the only reason that he got any like attention or accolades is because of his father, but he
Right.
never told anybody that was his father. So
Right.
a very relatable story for me because when I first started making music, no one knew my last name. It wasn't until the Wikipedia page popped up and people saw my last name, which kind of
Okay.
upset me because I always did a lot to protect my like to not advertise my last name. Even my email
Okay.
signatures, yeah, my email signatures and stuff always said Keisha Luciano, never said Keisha Fanfare. So
Okay.
people didn't know that that was my dad for a very long time.
Okay.
And it wasn't for any reason other than the fact that I didn't want people to feel like, oh, she's getting this look because that's her dad, or she's, you
Exactly.
know,
Exactly.
I was
Exactly.
trying to kind of protect myself from that also. And then also, like, my dad has such a great reputation in the
Yep.
Canadian journalism and media
Yep.
industry. And then here
Mm-hmm.
I am rapping about some of the craziest stuff ever. So I'm like, I don't want to taint his image either. But at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. I'm very proud, obviously, and he's a very proud father. He wrote an article about my album releasing. He's very
Hey,
proud of what I do, and I'm very proud of the work that he's put in. And oftentimes we're kind of like, there's times where I'm like, Dad, no, don't. He's like, oh, do you want me to tell this person you have an? I'm like, no, no, don't do that. I don't want, let me get to them myself. But then I realized,
yeah,
like, no,
yeah,
if my dad can help me with something, why
yes,
not? You know what I mean? So
exactly. Yo,
yeah.
that's what we're there for. If we can help, our children come up in some form or fashion, damn Skippy, we're gonna do it. We're gonna call,
Yeah.
we're gonna pull those cars like, hey, brethren, just
Exactly.
just help out a little bit. Yeah, all right, cool, cool, cool.
Yeah.
Try as
Yeah.
a father, trust me, that's what we're gonna do, all day,
Hmm.
all day.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's
So
sick. I
he,
love
he
that. I love that.
he's yeah
Now,
he's peaceful.
that's to have that type of support, and already, I mean, it's obvious you had that familiar support, which is so important for a creative coming up in such a difficult profession as the music industry. And I know you know the struggle because this industry is real. It's even realer up here in Canada, but just in general, it's not easy trying to do what you love, and not
Nah,
necessarily like you're not trying to blow up to some sort of like stratospheric level. You just want to be able to live and stick true to how you want to do it. You know what I mean?
100%, 100%. And it's again, it has Canada is just a whole different beast. Our urban
Yeah.
music, our urban music
Woo.
infrastructure is basically almost non-existent, and that shouldn't be the case because of the stars that we turn out of here. But
Yeah.
when you look at population and all those things that obviously
Oh yeah.
affect how
Mm-hmm.
things are, the intake and output here. So
Oh yeah.
we could all sit around and complain, or we can just do what we got to do and just keep doing it. I love music so much, man. I
Thank you.
love hip hop so much that for
Yes.
me, as long as I can make it, I'm happy.
They see, that's what I'm saying. That's exactly what I'm saying. Now, if I bring up the name, the sorority, what are the first 5 words that come up into your head?
Sisterhood,
Hey,
family, fun,
hey,
stress,
yeah,
and
hey for that
forgiveness.
one.
Forgiveness. The fifth word is forgiveness.
Hey, I
Yeah.
mean, for anyone who's not familiar, the sorority. Why don't we let folks know who the sorority is? Because I could tell your story all day. You should tell your story.
So the sorority is a hip hop group of 4 female rappers from Canada. So myself, Hawaii Mighty, Phoenix Pagliacci, and Lex Leosis. We formed by happenstance in 2016, and we had a great run. We toured, we won awards, we had music videos, released an album, lots of shows. We worked with Nike and FIFA Canada and Canada Soccer, FIFA Women's, Canada Soccer. Yeah, we were we were ranked as one of the top groups ever in Canada. So by CBC. So
And
yeah.
congrats, we got to throw the applause back up. This is sorority with some real shit, y'all. Okay, for real. No, I love what you guys did with this sorority. I love how 4 individual artists came together and said, you know what? Let's show them what we can do. And you showed them.
Thank you,
I love
thank
that.
you.
I love that. And again, uh, going back to our, like you said, going back to the rickety infrastructure, the bare bones infrastructure for a musical act like the sorority to be able to shine like that. I mean, come on, come on,
Thank you. I
for
think
real,
you're right. You're right. We were against all odds and we made it
for
happen.
real,
So
for real.
I'm proud of us. I'm really proud of what we accomplished in those years that we were together, and I'm happy. I think that, like, no regrets. I think we all look back in at those moments, and we just it's something that we're so grateful we all experienced. Like just touring, and then DJ Mel Boogie, like touring with our DJ, like it's just it's such it was like a the perfect ingredient to all of our careers. Like it's just that thing that we'll tell our kids about. It's history
Exactly.
kind of.
Exactly. Shout out to DJ Mel Boogie. She's my twin. We call each other twins because we got the boogies in our name. And yeah, she DJ'd for the sorority, and I'm sure she's DJ'd with you outside of the sorority still. So I mean,
Oh yeah, that she Mel
yeah,
Boogie's been my personal DJ for 16 years. So yeah.
exactly, exactly. Now we're gonna fast forward a little bit, and we're gonna
Hmm.
we're gonna take it to another pivotal. You just about pivotal moments, Keysha Fresh. You got these pivotal moments all up in here. Let's talk
That's
about
it.
Julia the Great.
Mm. Great, Julia the Great.
Yeah.
Where do I start? Okay, so it was August 2020, and I get a call from Maestro Fresh West. He calls me. I remember I was driving on Steels. I don't know why I remember this, but I was driving on Steels. He calls me. He said, "Yo, you have a second?" And I said, "Yeah." He said, "I gotta talk to you about something." I said, "Okay, what's up?" He said, I'm putting out a children's book." And or he said, sorry, I think the children's book was already out. He said, I want to do an album based on the children's book that I put out.
Yep.
And I was like, that's a great idea. Like that's a
Hell yeah.
really good idea. And he's like, yeah, yeah, I have all these beats and this and this and this. And he said, but I'm thinking there's a character in the book named Julia the Great, and I'm thinking I want you to play her on the album, like be her voice, give her a voice. So I was like, oh, I'm down, like 100%. You don't gotta ask me, like, yeah, I got you. So he was like, cool, cool, cool. So I'm gonna play you this beat. Tell me what you think. So he played me the beat, and I was driving, and it was it was a song called, is Julia's Great. That's on the first album, Young Maestro School Days. And the beat was hard, super hard. And I was like, bro, yeah, yeah, send that to me now. I got you. So, he sent it over, and I recorded the record for him, and I sent it back to him, and cool. We were good on that. And then that got nominated for Juno, and it was everyone was really excited, and it was a good moment because you don't really see that kind of representation in young Black kids in that way on not only in a children's book but on a children's album, telling those
Period.
kind of stories.
Period.
So here you have this young girl like, I'm great, I'm the greatest, kind of that vibe. It was cool. So then he calls me up the next year, and he says, yo, I said, what's up? Says, I want to do it again. And I said, do what again? He said, the children's album, but I want to do a Julia the Great children's album. And I want to talk about themes that young women and just young Black kids and young kids, period, can relate to. So, him and I talked, and we brainstormed different themes like, what do we like about school? Bake sale. I love the bake sale. That was my favorite part in school. The bake sales, favorite part. So he's like,
Hell yeah.
perfect bakes. That's he said, perfect bake sale. And then, he was like, yo, math, I want to do a math quiz. So, we just started touching on themes of school and kids. And then also, themes of like little Black girls can relate to. So, braid my hair. There's a song called Braid Your Hair on there. A song about her and her grandmother, just so many amazing themes. And her grandmother was played by Simone Denny on the album. You have Rich Kid playing the gym teacher, the teacher on the album. You have
Salute Rich.
just, yeah, so many people, playing amazing characters on the project. Um, we did that album, and I recorded it in the guest bedroom of my home where I kept my studio set up. So I was 3 o'clock in the morning, and him and I, yo, did you like that ad lib? Want me to do another ad lib? Like one more word? Okay, and I'm yelling words into the mic and sending him, pieces. And the engineer brought everything together, and we got nominated for Juno for that album. And that was my first official Juno nomination, and it was a surreal experience because first and foremost, this is a collaboration album I did with the Godfather of Canadian hip hop. Like that in itself is a feature. So
Thank you.
it just, yeah, it was an amazing experience, and I'm grateful for it.
Let me just put that into perspective just for one quick second. Maestro asking you to do this with him. Not many people can say that. Okay, not many people can say that. So
Yeah,
again, pivotal moment, Ms. Keysha Fresh. Damn.
yeah, I don't take none of that stuff for granted though, for sure. Like that's such a beautiful thing, and I'm
Hmm.
grateful that he tapped me for that.
You know, it's a beautiful thing. This record I listened to called "Pretty Boys Break My Heart." That's a beautiful thing, for real. Salute. I haven't had a
Thank
chance
you.
to tell you this yet. That shit was live. It's fire. I love what you did with this record because I kind of had an expectation for how I thought it was gonna sound like, but you didn't. You went into different bags, and I went, okay, let's go, let's
Yeah, I
go.
think when people see that title, they're automatically thinking like love song, ballad, just heartbreak. I think that's automatically what everybody's going to think. Of course, you know what I mean.
Yeah,
The title, and all of the promo leading up to it would suggest that. But you must, if you know me and you've been a fan for a while, you must know that I will not give you an album without giving you some real bars. Because you always have to remind people. I like making songs these days. I've done a lot of rapping in my life. I like making songs that just can
thank
are
you.
relatable. But I'm gonna still
So
rap. I'm
key.
gonna still remind you, like I got these bars right over here. So that was what that was about.
I definitely want to big you up for that because to say you want to make songs, yeah, you can rap. Of course, we know you can rap, but you want to make songs,
Hmm.
and I think that is one thing that should be first and foremost in an artist's mind is to make songs. No matter how skilled you are, no matter how skilled your pen is, no matter how tough that bar is, you still have to make songs.
Thank you.
And Keysha Fresh,
100%.
goddamn, you made songs.
Thank you. I appreciate that, bro.
Nah, for real.
Thank you.
I was really happy to listen to this record. It's a great summer record, first of all. Great summer
Thank
record,
you.
and you open up. You open up, and
I did.
I have a lot of respect for artists obviously in general, but the artists that are willing to open themselves up and use their art to express themselves, which is what art is in a nutshell. The
100%.
artists that
Oh
are
yeah.
the artists that are willing to open themselves up and express that way, I mean, come on. Love that.
Thank you. Thank you. That's what I wanted, man. I really wanted people to listen to this album and feel like they know me better than they did last year,
Yeah. Yeah.
like better than they've ever known me. Like this is
Yeah.
was very vulnerable. A lot of these songs were very vulnerable. So
Yeah, that's very obvious. There's
yeah.
definite vulnerability there, but I mean that's what being an artist is. The second you put pen to paper, you are
Hmm.
vulnerable. You're opening
Oh
yourself up
yeah.
to the world. So
Yeah.
definitely, definitely. And you've
Thank
worked
you.
with some good people on this record as well. Definitely wanna big up Tona, Brethren, killed it on Cathedral. You both killed.
Yeah.
There's very nice marriage of bars there.
Thank you. Yeah.
I talked to Tona right quick a couple of days ago, and he said that you're a passionate, dope ass writer and a student of the genre.
That's what he said.
That's what he said.
I appreciate you,
That's
man.
full
Thank you,
ass credit right
Tona.
there,
That's my
for real.
bro. I appreciate him, man. Thank you. He knows I feel the same about him. Tona, working with Tona, it's 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 such a mutual respect that exists. Really
Mm,
a brother sister relationship. There's very few people in the music industry that I really let in, or you know, you know people, or some people just are acquaintances or collaborators, but
yeah,
Tona really is family. Like that's really
yeah,
big, bro. So I'm grateful. I appreciate those words.
for real. No, for real. You guys definitely cooked. Um, going back to Mel, Mel said that you are a dope lyricist and you can hold your own as a female MC without solely relying on her sexuality. She has
Wait, you
bars.
got quotes from all these people for real?
Yeah,
What?
dude, come on now. It's journalism. Let's go.
Yo, that's fire. Okay, thank you. Yo, that's
she,
that's
she said she has bars and an understanding and respect of the culture.
wow, wow. That's beautiful. I really do appreciate Mel for saying that because, you know, I'm a student of her. For being
Hey,
really honest, that's a
hey,
mentor to me. That's my big cousin. So at the end of the day, it's just really me. I'm a student of Mel Boogie, and I always tell her all the time, like, you're my hero. Like I look up to you a lot. So
fuck yes. Nothing but love from
yes,
Mel Boogie up here. Done no, for
thank
real.
you. That's
Um,
dope.
The album is out now. Do you have any visuals that are up for people to view right now?
Not yet, but they're on their way. We're filming it.
Okay.
We have some
Okay.
shoots coming up in the next couple weeks. Yeah.
Okay. Sick, sick, sick. Because we got to see those visuals.
Oh yeah, they're coming.
The visuals are so clutch for marketing now that you know what I mean. It's that real
Oh yeah,
because
for sure, for sure.
social media has such an important part in selling music these days. It's obviously not the only way, and one would hope that artists wouldn't rely strictly on social media to get product out there. But I've looked at your social media game, and I think you get it. I
I
think you
try
get it.
one too. Do I love it? Like, do I? I just want to make music,
Does
but
anyone like
I guess
marketing?
yeah, yeah. You gotta be content creators now, so no
Hmm.
problem, no problem. You just gotta adjust.
And that's something that artists who came up in the 80s or 90s and and maybe even into early 2000s weren't really worrying about, not like how artists are worrying about it now. And some artists are really wrestling with the having to be a content creator aspect of being an artist. A lot of them actually are wrestling with it.
Mhm.
You and it's just, you don't have to do it all yourself. If you've got folks in your corner, you don't have to put all that on your shoulders, the content creation part. As long as
Right.
you've got people around you who can help you with that, it'll put less pressure on you as an artist to
I
to
agree.
yeah,
I agree
eh,
for sure.
definitely. And obviously, you get it. Your social media game, I can tell you get
Thank you.
it.
Thank you.
Well, yo, Keysha, I really want to thank you for spending some time with us in the lounge space today.
Mm.
I hope it's not the last time we have you on, because this is such a dope episode. I had a feeling that this was gonna work out. Anytime I'm looking forward to an episode, I always try to feel out how I think it's gonna go with whichever artist. But I was kind of feeling good about this one, and it turned out exactly the way I expected to. So I want you to know that anytime you got something popping, it's an open door policy. There's literally a seat here with your name on it, right there. It says it, Keysha Fresh. Anytime you got something popping, you just hop right in that chair, and then we just get right to it.
Awesome. I'm looking forward to it. This is a dope conversation, and I really appreciate you having me.
Oh, respect. Thank you. Thank you very
Mm.
much. And thank you for spending time with us today. The album is out now. Is it available for purchase yet?
Yeah, on iTunes, available for
Thank you.
purchase and streaming as well.
Excellent.
And it's on
Because if you
Bandcamp, I
stream
think
it,
too.
there you go.
Mm.
Because if you stream it, you should buy
Yeah,
it.
good job.
Buy
I
that
like that.
record. Keysha Fresh, thank you once again. Until we have you back up in here again.
Thank you.
Respect.